on, we got all this space right here, all this space right here.
Something new, the Casper Slide
There we go.
Hey, Platinum Band, and this time we're gonna get funky. Everybody clap your hands.
Hey, clap your hands. Let me see y'all move.
Clap your hands. Find out. We're gonna do the basic stuff. To the left. Take it back there, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, left stop. Left foot, left stop. Hey, cha-cha, real smooth. Turn left. To the left.
All right. Our first guy that we got coming up is a white Center native. Well, not native, but pretty close to it. He's been around this area for a very long time. He's been doing social justice work for a very long time. He's my brother, one of White Center's favorite people, Simone Nagasi.
What up, everybody? Can y'all hear me? Whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? Beautiful. We are up. We're ready. So, as my brother Justin said, my name is Suman Nagasi Andu, a son of this community, migrated here in 2001, and so it's been a minute. Since we're all here to uphold a just cause, before we talk about justice, we cannot even open that topic before the acknowledgement of this land and the beautiful, proud Duwamish people. So I wanted to get that out of the way because it's the most important thing, right? Thank you. I would invite y'all to join me in a moment of silence and all the protests that happened in Seattle in the last 2 weeks. I don't think I've heard anybody do that. So if y'all can join me in a moment of silence, and let me read this whole way to get it right. For George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, all of those who fell to police brutality across this nation for years, not just this week, not this month, not this year, across the years. For everybody, yes. For our ancestors and the indigenous people of the world who lost their lives to white supremacy in America, Asia, Australia, the Caribbean, the islands, and the motherland. Think of them. Let's take a moment to acknowledge them and to pray for them and send them positive thoughts. Starting now. Thank you. So, I have two parts that I want to discuss with y'all today. The first is to analyze what we're experiencing in this time and in this moment of history, and then about the action steps, because I'm all about the action, boss. Or is it just an act? Yeah. So what can we do about what we're seeing today? These are the two things I want to talk to you about, right? In the Art of War, Sun Tzu says, in order for you to win every battle, you have to know your enemy and you have to know yourself, right? You have to know your enemy and you have to know yourself. And so let us examine the enemy. What we see today across the United States, every state has been out protesting and upholding the cause that we're all here to support today, right? We've also seen people in Europe, in the major cities of Europe. It's important for you to look at that and to analyze that. And it's important for you to also look at what's happening in Latin America. So I'm not just going to talk about America, I'm going to talk about the world today because we live in a global community. And it's important to understand that and where we're at today in relation to the world, okay? We also are seeing the destruction and removal of statues of those who enslaved our ancestors across the world. We have never seen that before, and that's an important point that we need to acknowledge. And there is a reason for that, y'all, okay? Cool. So now the question is, are all these people who are in the streets, are all of y'all here only to protest against police brutality? No, right? We are out here to dismantle systematic racism, institutional racism, and the structure that existed for 400 years and counting, right? So it's important for us, y'all, it's important for us to acknowledge that what we're fighting right now is not a fight that just begun today. It's a marathon, and it's a baton that's been passed generation to generation. And like Blue Scholars, my favorite group out of Seattle said, revolutionary dies, but the revolution don't. And it has never died, right? And so we're witnessing, I think, this complete circle where we're seeing now those who started 400 years ago, you know, who built this Western capitalist system that was built on the bones, on the blood and the tears and the labor of our indigenous people. That's why it's important for us to acknowledge the Duwamish people of this land. It's important for us to acknowledge all the indigenous people across the world, because we are here today because of all the sacrifices. And it is, I think, extremely important and historical for us to see that the statues of all of those people, like Christopher Columbus, his head got beheaded yesterday in Boston, if y'all seen, right? We are seeing King Leopold of Belgium, what's his name, Robert E. Lee, so many people. So it's extremely important for us to analyze that and to look at that, because we are living in a historic moment. And usually when we look at, like, you wonder, even in the March of Washington, did they really realize the moment they were living in? So I ask y'all, look to your left, look to your right, okay? Live in the moment. The revolution is here. It is here, y'all, okay? It is here. One of the systems that we are demolishing, is the educational system. All right, how many of y'all went to Evergreen High School, Chief Sell? All right, so what did they teach you over there, y'all? They taught you that the First World War was what? Let me do a quick test. Who knows? First World War. 1914, right? All right, cool. That was the First World War for the whites, for the colonizers. That was their First World War. When you ask our ancestors, our First World War started 400 years ago. Again, and I'm always going to go back to that. And it's important for us to dismantle that, because know your enemy, know yourself. And you will not begin to know yourself until you analyze your history and learn about your heroes. Okay? And so I wanted to also acknowledge that. So when we talk about all of those things, it will lead us to what can we do today? Okay? I mentioned the history, I mentioned all of those things because it lead us to this moment and now. One of my favorite revolutionaries who fought on behalf of humanity against ISIS in the Middle East said, we live in the time of the great confrontation between all that is evil and good. Let me say that again. We live in the times of the great confrontation between all that is evil and good, where you no longer have the luxury of being a bystander. For that automatically puts you in the ranks of the oppressor against the oppressed. Can I say that again? All right. We live in the time of the great confrontation between all that is evil and good, where you no longer have the luxury of being a bystander, for that automatically places you in the ranks of the oppressed. So you have a duty today to stand for what is just and what is right. And that's why we're here. Am I right? Yeah. Beautiful. So, what can we do today for all my brothers and my sisters, for all the white allies who are here? Just because you're here, y'all, holding a sign, it's powerful, it's important, it's not enough. All right? A true revolution begins within. A true revolution begins within, and that work needs to happen within every household, internally. We must subdue the evil within us. We must check ourselves, and it's a continuous thing. The revolution is here, but it will depend on your action today and moving forward. So you need to do that work. I can't do it for you. Justin can't do it for you. Kayla Tenene can't do it for you. Aran Andu can't do it for you. My brother Erin Garcia can't do it for you. You need to do it, and you need to make it a priority. So that's one thing you can do. All right? Each of you have, I work in the nonprofit sector. Each of you have an influence in a circle that you're a part of. So make that count what it needs to, okay? That's something you can do right now. For all my black and brown folks here, we also need to do that work internally. how we have been ruled for over 400 years is because of division and because of the fight that happens in between us. You know, I'm Eritrean. Eritreans and Ethiopians, for example, you know. Within our African American community, all the gangs and sets, in the Polynesian community, all in the South Asian community. Y'all know the truth. So unity is important for us to advance this cause. And that work needs to happen now. We need to check ourselves too, y'all. With that being said, I want to thank you all for being here. I hope y'all took some of what I said. You know, we're out here. There's a lot of people out here who are trying to divide us. We're more divided than ever today, and unity is extremely important. So let's move with love. If somebody comes to you and they try to engage in conversation, humble yourself. Listen, right? Because it's a historic moment, and we will not advance forward unless we begin that work with love and unity. Much love to you all, and let me end this. Whose lives matter? Our lives matter! Thank you.
Yes. Let's give him another round of applause for Brother Simone. Real quick, I wanted to say this again. I want to make sure that we have a chance to acknowledge everyone that we should. If you are part of the 2020 graduate class, please check in over there. We want to acknowledge everybody. We want to give you your stage to walk across because you guys all deserve that. So please check in at the table letter. Okay, we got another one of my favorite people. She is one of the strongest teenagers that I've ever worked with. She is very, very talented and very, she's really passionate about the movement. It's a beautiful thing for me to see that in her, and I'm very, very happy to bring to the stage Marisha. So she's going to do a couple special verses. She told me before she came up here, she told me she was nervous, and I ain't never heard her say that before. Okay, so we gotta do a better job at welcoming her up here.
The people love to use MLK's image and tell us he never burned one building, never robbed one store, never destroyed one town, changed the world. Okay, colonizers, the same peace they gave when they kneeled on George Floyd's neck, the same peace they gave when they murdered 14-year-old boys for false accusations against them, because that's not peace. And we've never got peace from here in America. Notice how the Boston Tea Party was the riot that made America great, but how the riot for an unarmed black man murdered in cold blood by a cop who almost made bail is wrong. Colonizers rioted because they didn't want to pay taxes and turned around and told us we had to. Now they're telling us rioting is wrong. Rioting won't change anything. Looting is destroying our country. The people love to use MLK's peaceful mindset because that's the way to do it, as they neglect to teach us the violence they inflicted upon his life, assassinated by a racist. There was no peace behind that bullet. Emmett Till, Rodney King, Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Corrin Gaines, Breonna Taylor, Aiyana Jones, Manuel Ellis, Charlena Lau, Sean Fur, killed in our sanctuary city. Hello, doctor. I'd like to get this death sentence, birthmark removed. I think I'm next. I was born black and I will die black. I just don't want to die because I'm black. want to argue black on black crime. Well, what is white on white crime? Or Asian on Asian crime? They say looting isn't protesting. No one ever says the birth of America was a crime. No one ever says police on black bodies is a crime. But colonialism isn't expanding and murder isn't policing. With everything going on, you think America is cursed, like we're standing on an ancient indigenous burial ground or something. Oh wait. They gave the White House keys to a man with no intellect. I mean an idiot who'd rather wage war on his own people than bring justice to the table. They give policemen modern KKK uniforms, slave patrol badges, and whips to serve and protect, expecting this country to be great. George Floyd's neck was a threat to this country. Trayvon's hood was a threat to this country. Breonna Taylor's sleeping body was a threat to this country. But Nicholas Cruz's AR-15 semi-automatic weapon in a high school is not a threat to this country. Adam Lanza's rifle in an elementary school is not a threat to this country. And Dylan Roof's Glock 45 caliber handgun in a church is not a threat to this country. A school shooter bullied for 4 years is more understood than a race systematically oppressed for over 400. Wow. So telling black people, how to react is like trying to tell the mother of a child shot in a school shooting how to react to the death of her own child. We live in a world where trained cops can act on impulse, but untrained civilians have to remain calm while staring down the barrel of a gun. I live in a world where even when we yell, "Stop killing us," people still respond, but... Thank you. MLK has left it.
That one got me feeling good. Let's give her another round of applause. So this is the time that we have left open to invite guests up to the mic. We have a few minutes before we begin the march. We still got some people trickling in, so we don't want to leave them behind, but they just might get left anyway. But if we have anybody who would like to come up and say a few words, I'll be more than happy to share this stage with you. Don't all run in at once. Frank, come on, I see you, Frank. I see you. I see you. Yeah. Come on, Frank, I see you. I can feel it. I can feel it.
Hi guys, my name is Frank Johnson. Hey, what's up? This is beautiful. I grew up in White Center, and to just see all y'all here just make me feel real lovely right now in this time, in this place, in this really disruptive place that America has been, but now has become, and the destruction on my soul. I feel it. I've been feeling it since the little boy got shot for just jogging through his neighborhood. You know, I've been feeling it for a long time, my whole life. And just to be here with y'all today and seeing all this diversity, all the white allies, all my Asian allies, my brothers, my sisters, my fellow black people, my Africans, my African Americans, it makes me feel good and it makes me feel like this is right. Can I get an amen? I've been protesting these past couple, these past 15 days. Not the full 15 days, I ain't got time like that. But I've been protesting, and the first protest that came down on that Saturday in Capitol Hill, where that was the first time I'd ever gotten tear gas in my eyes for no reason. My grandma lives in the Central District, so that was really the only reason why I was down there. And the fact that I had to be wary of a protest. You know what I'm saying? And we're for the life of my grandma. So when you come out there today, when we're doing this out here today, when we walking and we yelling Black Lives Matter, you gotta mean it. Can you dig it? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You ain't out here just for fun. This ain't for the gram. This ain't for the book. You know, this is for your life. This is for my life. This is for Justin's life. You know what I'm saying? Peace, love, unity, and respect, baby. That's all we need to have. So when you go out there, remember what it is, remember the cause, and you'll be the boss. Can you dig it? All right.
Thank you, Frank. There's my brother right there. Anyone else that would like to address the mic? Let me untangle this real quick. Okay. If you want to come on up, come on up here. What you waiting on? What's your name? Peyton. Like Gary Payton? All right. I like Gary Payton. All right, Peyton. The mic is yours. Hold on. Let me step down first.
Oh, God. As a young white woman, I understand that I will never understand, but I stand with you. So, I'm glad to be part of the change, and let's raise some hell.
Thank you, Peyton. Clap it up for Peyton. Clap it up for Peyton. All right, we got another speaker. Huh? You? Peyton, what's you? Peyton, what's you? Peyton, what's you, brother? Okay, anybody else want to come on up? Oh, come on. Come on up. Go ahead. Come on up here. Thank you. Jonathan, let's give a round of applause for Jonathan.
Pretty good, everybody. There's so many people here. That's fantastic. Makes my heart warm. My name is Jonathan. I'm from Federal Way, Washington, and for a while I didn't understand the movement. Follow me, dude. Follow me. I didn't understand why it was normalized to see people that look like me in the ground. I didn't understand why it was normal, and I didn't feel bad looking at people like me dead all the time. And it finally hit me the other week, and I was like, I don't want to have kids. I don't want to raise a child that looks like me and is already at a disadvantage. You know, I don't want to bring someone into the world that can't survive because of something they cannot control. And that's why it warms my heart to see everyone out here that looks different. Like, you don't look like me, bruh. I mess with that. You don't look like me either. I mess with that too. You look like me. I mess with that. It's fantastic to see all of you guys coming out here. And who's like me?
Yes, Brother Jonathan. Don't let them stop you from having no kids. Kids are a blessing. I ain't got none yet, though. They're also expensive. But I ain't got none yet, though. All right, we got another brother coming on up. Oh, we got Brother Pope. Let me go ahead.
How's everybody doing? I'm gonna step a little high. My name's Poe. I'm from here too. You know, I'm a local. I'm up here because I didn't have anything really to say, but from all the love, you know, it's hard to refrain from coming up here and showing my gratitude on a personal level. My cousin Yosia, Mr. Slim Faletomo, was murdered by Seattle Police Department North Precinct on New Year's Eve last year. And to this day, we haven't gotten an independent investigation like we've been asked and promised, or we've asked and been promised. And we continue to ask or wait. And according to our family, we seen my cousin comply before he was murdered by the police. Plain and simple. There are a lot of things on the table we're discussing as far as defunding the police and all that awesome stuff. But there are two things that are dear to my heart I just wanted to share with you guys today. Okay? The first thing is civilian oversight. Let's focus on civilian oversight and get somebody at that table from the community, somebody we trust that we can maybe choose, and then they can oversee them on our behalf, keep them accountable. It just makes sense to me. You know what else makes sense to me? De-escalation training. But, hold on. But it makes no sense to train them to de-escalate when in their mind they're already biased and racist. Real talk. You know, we got to get into their mental and make sure they're good in their mind before they take that gun and that badge. That's all I got to say. God bless y'all. Black Lives Matter. Whose lives matter? Whose lives matter? Let's go. God bless.
Thank you, Poe. Oh, that's good, man. Slim was a brother of mine. He spent a lot of time right here in this building, helping out the kids, playing basketball with us and having fun. So it's good to hear that name being saying over this mic. We got a few more minutes before we take off. So is there anybody else who would like to trust him? Come on up. Come on up. Come on up here. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. This is Bryson, and I know when you be shy. I'm Bryson. All right, especially not with me up here. All right, that's right. Come on. Oh, no, this your spot. You're playing with me. All right, what's your name? Shelby. Hey, I'm Justin Shelby. Nice to meet you. Oh, elbow. Oh, right. You're right. We gotta get 6 feet. Let me get up off of here.
Hey everyone. So I'm from Kent, but I grew up in a really, really small town in Black Diamond. I think we had this many people total in my entire town. We were outnumbered by cows. And the first time I actually dealt with, not myself, but on a personal level, racism was when I was in middle school. And one of the two black kids at our school, one of them, TMI, got my period, was freaking out a little bit. And one of the girls, her name's Zebra, and she gave me a Midol because she was trying to help me out. And the teacher saw this and asked me later on and said, hey, did she give you a pill? And I'm like, yeah, she gave me a Midol. She got expelled because she gave me a pill. But I'm white. I didn't get in trouble. They just said, hey, next time, don't take something. I learned that at 12. And I continued to watch that happen. Day after day, little microaggressions, macroaggressions. And, you know, something that's really been weighing on my mind ever since that time is that anytime that, like, white people come out and, like, say the right thing or we stand up, you know what I hear from the community? Thank you. And while I appreciate that, it bothers me because why am I getting thanked for doing something we should have done a long time ago? Why am I getting thanked for the bare minimum? Why am I getting thanked for being a human being? I shouldn't be thanked. That should be the floor. We should be getting thanked for throwing our bodies in front of people, protecting them, not for just being a person. So I know it's appreciated that we're out here, but the thing is that I want to apologize. I'm sorry it took this long. I'm sorry that it took thousands and thousands of bodies and hundreds of years for us to all be out here to make something happen. So I'm sorry, but let's change this stuff. Let's make it happen, not a Band-Aid. And the number one thing we need to do is in our schools, we need to get rid of the resource officers so we can stop that school-to-prison pipeline that we've got going on with our kids. And the number one way we can do that is meet with your education board. So please make that a topic, email them, call them, annoy them. There's bots you can set up to call them automatically, but please, fight for that. Let's fight for our kids. Let's fight for that future. Thank you for letting me be here.
Thank you, Shelby. We appreciate you. Hey. All right, we got another brother coming up right here. We got this gentleman right here, and then my gentleman right here with the Mariners hat, and then we out. All right, y'all better be ready. Y'all better be ready, because I am. Get hydrated, right? I come on up, brother. What's your name? Beezy. Appreciate you. Come on, to make sure.
Y'all do me a favor. Say his name. George Floyd. Oh, y'all can do way better than that. Say his name. George Floyd. Say his name. George Floyd. I've been at a lot of protests and I've been taking pictures. Matter of fact, get a couple more, y'all. The only one thing I would ask from everyone is that black folks is hurt, you know. I mean, we've been going through this for a long time, and some say you don't understand. You know, I can't understand, but I've been at a lot of protests, and guess what? Nobody said hi to me. Nobody asked me how I was doing. Nobody cared to, you know. Don't be scared of us out here. We might be angry, but we're still trying to get our point across. So go ahead and talk to a black person, you know, get their point of view or ask a question or just simply say, hey, I'm here for you. You understand what I'm saying? Say his name one more time. My name is Beezy. I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir, Busy. We appreciate you too. Hey, and I like that camera. You done got some real good pictures of me that I want to see. All right, I want to see. All right, what's up, brother? What's your name? Kevin? All right, Kevin, the mic is yours, brother. Come on up.
And I just want to say something real quick. As a Latinx, first generation born in this country, I've realized that even in my circles, in my communities of Latinx people, we need to do something to stand with our black brothers and sisters. So, originally from LA, first generation born from undocumented single parent mom, she showed me a lot of different things that I need to stand up for. And I just want to read a quote that really blew my mind this morning, because y'all know that Latinos and Latinas, Latinx people, we're dealing with our own different type of oppression. So I'm going to read this quote to end it, and it says, what Latinx need to realize is that our oppression is bound up and intertwined with the oppression of the black community. Until they are liberated, until they are free from injustice and oppression, we will never be liberated. So if y'all Latinos out there, y'all need to be out here and support our black and sisters, man.
All right, real quick, I know I said that he was going to be the last one before we start the march, so I told a little fibs. I do that from time to time, don't worry about it. We got someone else who I want to address this microphone real quick. We go to some by Miss Brown, some Ariel, some just Ariel Brown. She's going over right now and address this microphone.
I just want to say that I previously taught at Oregon High School. I left earlier this year because it was not the environment for people of color. Education was critical for the liberation of black and brown students. Schools were not for us or about us. And so I'm seeing everyone in here, like in the community, and knowing that, like, with the community, so much is powerful, or like, we have so much power. And so, who was it that spoke earlier about like getting this out of school? I'm just gonna amplify that again, like, fuck the police. Okay? Like, fuck the police. And there are so many people here with positions of power. You got principals, you got school board members. Take it to the fucking superintendent, because no one, so long as there are cops in our schools, you are doing a disservice to the black and brown community. There is no such thing as passive interrogation. And so long as you are supporting cops in the schools and in our community, you are actively racist. All of you white educators and all of you how to do your fucking part. Understand that we are tired. And I love you, Pastor Twitter, and I love you guys.
That was juicy. That was juicy. Huh? Yeah. All right, let's get this march off real quick. Let me hear you. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Whose lives matter? Black lives matter. Yeah. We got some people that are lined up over there to lead the march. I ain't never really said this. I don't really know how to do this, but let's start moving. We're gonna head south down 8. We're gonna head south down 8.
Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Won't you say his name?